What goes on behind the scenes and the preparation for being on the news or a morning show? We'll find out on this episode. Hey, it's Davide Di Giorgio and I'm back again. Are you following the journey from idea to failure to that red dot on the TEDx stage? 123celebrate.com, where I pull back the curtain and share all of it. And for more great content, visit my YouTube channel at Being Unapologetic TV.com. And hey, while you're at it, why don't you follow me on Instagram? I love Instagram. You can find me at Being Unapologetic. What goes into a television appearance? So here's the story. I had actually about a month ago or so, I had pitched myself to be on a local San Diego station, and I almost got on, and then they're like, oh, we can't quite put this on yet. It related to bullying and back to school. It was very timely. That's one of the things that you do need to do when you want to get on media, is have something that is timely and related to the audience, something that people are going to want to watch in the audience of that news station. Well, so the day before I arrived in Colorado Springs to deliver my TEDx talk, I got a message from the organizer of the event, and he said, hey, would you like to come on TV with me? Actually, originally he was saying, do you want to go on TV yourself? And I thought, yeah, that would be cool. But then I kind of talked him into, I think you should appear with me on the station so that we can both talk about the event. And I think that would make for a really great segment. And of course he agreed. Remember, be of service to other people, be valuable to other people. And that helps to build a relationship, of course. And for me, it would have been just fun because I actually really have a great relationship with Steve, the organizer. And so it was just a blessing for me to have him on with me. And so what happens is you get, in this case anyway, you get a form and you have to fill out some information, give them some logos or some images, of course, the spelling of your name. And basically you tell them the talking points and what you actually want them to ask you. You also, in this case, have to give the answers, because what you're doing is helping the teleprompter people just to keep things moving along and keep it simple. So I prepared. There were 5 questions that they asked for. And so questions 1 and 5 were directed more to the organizer, Steve, and questions 2, 3, and 4 were directed to me. So I have my questions, I have my answers prepared, I've thought through exactly the bullet points of how I want this to go. And so there I was. In the morning of, we arrived to the station, and we were just chatting and preparing, and we actually quizzed each other on our questions, Steve and I, just to make sure that we, would sound intelligent. And, when these segments are very short, you don't want to waste time just jibber-jabbering about anything. You want to be clear and intentional. You want to say your bit in as few words as possible, and then you want to stop talking to allow the host to carry on. So we were practicing, and we were all set to go. I felt ready. I looked good. I felt good. It was all ready to go. And so then we get moved into the station, into the studio, which is super, super cool, and all green screens, and it's just really cool. And something that most people don't know actually nowadays is there's generally no cameramen. When you're in a news station or a morning show, they're all automated. All of the cameras are automated and they're controlled from a different room. And so there's just all these cameras on tracks and booms that are just kind of going on their own, and you're just sitting in front of them and they kind of move and do their thing. So the segment starts, and we'll do a breakdown here of the actual segment.
Welcome back to Living Local, everyone. TEDx Colorado Springs returns with organizer Steve Morocco and speaker Davide Di Giorgio.
So you might be wondering, wow, that screen, the introduction screen, was up pretty long, and it was up because right up until it came down, there's someone fixing a microphone. I guess it wasn't turned on me, and so they're literally on the set, and they had to run out, I guess, just before they took that screen down. So just something kind of funny for you to know that was happening in the background.
His talk on the real power of choice, which is overcoming paranoia. He's joined with Steve here this morning. How are you guys? Good to have you in studio.
Great, thanks for having us.
Just for everybody knows, TEDx, you made such a good point. TED's not a person. It's technology, entertainment, and design. You guys bring a great show here to the Springs because you have some incredible speakers. First of all, for people out there, what is TEDx?
So TEDx is it's an all-day conference in person. It's the same TEDx talks you've seen online, but a ton of them all in one day. It's so much fun.
It sounds like so much fun. And this morning, we actually have David here.
Okay, before I go on, I just want to point out the first question that we had, agreed upon is TEDx is back in Colorado Springs for a second time this year, and you've taken on the responsibility of curating this event for the world. Why? What does this mean? What does this event mean for you? So she asked a question that wasn't necessarily on the list, but she asked an easy question, what is TEDx? And so Steve gave a great answer. Quick, short, to the point, and it allows the audience to understand more about what TEDx is and why they might want to come to it. So we move on.
Who's the author of Being Unapologetic. You work with a lot of influencers, a lot of celebrities, and you kind of guide them in how to shape the right message that's going to kind of push them forward. How does that work?
The first question she's supposed to ask me is, you're the author of Being Unapologetic. You work with influencers and celebrities. Okay, we're good there. To develop their messages and even their TED Talks. And now you're stepping out onto the TED stage yourself. What will you be speaking about? So she kind of caught me by surprise. Let's see how I answered this, because in my head, remember, I'm prepared, and actually on the camera, on the teleprompter in front of me is the answer that I'm expecting to give. Now, I'm not going to read the teleprompter, but they just put it up there more for the closed captioning. Anyway, so let's see how I answer the question.
Developing ideas worth spreading, you just have to get down to the heart of who somebody is. And that's why I wrote Being Unapologetic, is figuring out who you really are. That's when you'll reveal your why and your big idea, your message and mission for the world.
This book is a little bit...
So I want to point something out. Because she threw me for a loop, all I remembered in my head was saying to myself, keep it short, keep it efficient, just answer the question in the best way that you can and tie all the dots together. Now, this happened to become a bonus for me because I didn't expect her to talk about the book at all. Even though the book is sitting there, it was just a piece just to say, hey, this guy is, has some credibility.
A little bit awesome, because most of the time you'd get being apologetic. In this case, it's unapologetic. Tell me about the concept and how this book came together.
She goes on more about the book. So now I'm really confused because I'm like, I know that this is a short segment. When are we going to get to the questions? So what you're going to see me try to do is actually start to connect the dots back to my TEDx talk. And also in my own mind, I'm thinking, I got to keep this interview useful for the organizer because I know what the purpose is for the organizer being here. And I want to make sure that we can bring an audience. And so I crafted the best answer that I could on my feet. Let's see how I did.
Yeah, so Being Unapologetic is really was a message for me. I started to wonder what would happen if I started to become unapologetic about my life. I'm originally Canadian. We apologize a lot. And so what if we were unapologetic? And that also led into my whole TED Talk idea of overcoming comparanoia. And I define comparanoia as the desire to be like or unlike anybody else. And when you have that desire, you start to apologize for a lot of things. And I've discovered that if you stop apologizing and you make a powerful choice, which I'll talk about in my talk, not only do you become more unapologetic and more powerful, you can also build more powerful relationships, communities, and teams.
Why do you feel it's not important to be apologetic all the time? Because you're right, if you really think about it, a lot of people do apologize for a lot of things. How did you build that concept, and why do you think it's really not that important?
So again, we have not gotten to the questions yet that are on the sheet that I practiced for, that we quizzed each other on back and forth. So I'm really confused here, thinking like, oh my gosh, what is happening? How am I going to save this? Even though obviously I'm giving clear answers, keeping them pretty concise, and I see how I'm tying them back to the purpose. Otherwise, the interview could become useless. I wanted to make sure that it was very clear what I was talking about.
Well, it takes you out of your power. And I just started to experiment and play with it. Like I said, I've spent a lot of my life, I've been bullied for a lot of my life as a young adult and even into adulthood. And I started to wonder, what would it be like if I became unapologetic? I was also a high school music teacher for almost 10 years. And so I got to really see how comparanoia, fear, and doubt really plays a big part of a young person's life. So I started to look at what it looks like to be unapologetic and the benefits of that. And it's really life transforming.
Yeah.
So you'll notice I'm answering her question where she's really focusing on the book, but I'm also leading to the overcoming comparanoia idea, which is what the talk is about. And actually, overcoming comparanoia is just an extension of being unapologetic. So it's not actually, I'm not making this up. There are connections to the book, of course. But I just wanted to make sure that I was answering the question in a way that I'm thinking in my head, how can I use this answer and this media interview later to my advantage and still answer her question graciously?
Yeah. And let's talk to you, Steve, a little bit about what you can expect. A lot of people watch TED Talks online, but tell me about watching it in person, being out there live. Like, what is the difference here?
Okay, so now she skipped to question number 5. Question number 5 is, most people watch TED Talks online. Why would someone want to attend a TEDx event live? So in my head, I'm thinking, okay, we're coming to the end of the interview. Hopefully I've answered usefully and, given value to the audience and gotten the message across, and that this was a useful opportunity. So Steve goes on to give his answer.
So, I mean, it's one thing to get to, sit at home with your laptop and just watch one TED Talk eating goldfish. That's one approach. That's fine. It can be inspiring and it can change your life. But when you see 19 TED Talks in one day, we also have 8 poets, we have 2 performers, we have an experience for people. It changes your life. I mean, it's something that sticks with you forever. I go to any TEDx event I can go to, and I organize one because I'm so passionate about the way it can really change how you see the world and how you meet people. And you also get to meet the speakers before they're famous. Before their talks go online, you get to hang out in the coffee breaks and meet folks like David. So
I've always been a fan. I think in the world of journalism, you kind of do open yourself up to the stories other people have, because everybody has a story. And when you've got a great group of people, including David here, who has been in so many positions, has lived a lot of life, you kind of learn from them and all of your experiences.
So Steve gave a great answer. He really shows the difference of well, you could watch a TED Talk at home and this is the experience that you're going to get, or you can come in person and you can meet the speakers before they become famous. You can talk with them, you can have coffee with them, you can interact with them. You'll see all the other things that go into this TEDx event, like the poets and the performers. And he's really building this case that it's an experience and you should try something out like that sometime. So he really gave a great answer here. And Claudia does a great job at circling back around to saying, yeah, okay, well, we've got a great speaker. Why wouldn't you want to meet someone like David or like the other speakers? She goes on.
Talk to me about what you will be specifically talking about on Saturday.
Okay, so now she's asking something off the script. Essentially, she's asking the third question. No, actually, yeah, she says, what are you going to be speaking about? That's the second question, actually. What will you be speaking about? So now in my head, I'm thinking, okay, did I already answer this question? And if I did answer it, how am I going to re-answer this question so I don't sound like I'm giving the same answer again? And you'll see how I handle this here.
So overcoming comparanoia, as I said, is really this idea that so here's what I've learned over all of my experiences in working with thousands of people. The problem isn't a fear of failure, a lack of skills, or even a lack of confidence. The root problem is this thing that I call comparanoia. Okay. And when you overcome comparanoia, you can truly create some magic in your life and the lives of other people.
I love it.
Short and sweet. Okay, so I got to the point. The real heart of my talk is really that sound bite that I gave. And again, you want to speak in sound bites, right? The real problem isn't a fear of failure, a lack of skills, or even a lack of confidence. The problem is comparanoia. And so that is what I wanted to get out there. That's really what I'm talking about. And I didn't say it before, so this was a perfect place to insert it.
I love the whole comparanoia word because it actually makes sense. So hopefully that'll become a word in the near future. But listen, if you want to grow as a person, learn in the stories and experiences of other people like David here, who also happens to be an incredible author, then this is the event to go to. This event is on Saturday. It's TEDx, and you can learn more at TEDxCOS.org. Oh, and by the way, use the code FOX21. You'll get $10 off the ticket price. Again, TEDxCOS.org. Thank you so much for being with us this morning, guys.
Absolutely.
Great talk.
There we go. So pretty simple. We didn't get through all the questions. There was a question that we didn't talk about at all, but I kept it on point, on track, short answers. I thought, what are the most powerful things that I want to get out to the world? And you just think, how can you incorporate those things into the questions? I got some great advice from my good friend Katie Temple, an Emmy award-winning sportscaster. Before I went on, I said, hey, any tips? She said, yeah, sit up straight, look at the person who's talking and smile and listen to what they're saying. And that really is the key. If you're listening, if you're present and you know your stuff. I was on there speaking about something that I love. I'm very comfortable in my own skin when it comes to just talking about what I'm up to, especially when it comes to the topic of this TEDx talk, because it is my life's work. And I was present. I looked at who was talking for the most part. And it turned out to be a great piece that I can use to go out and get other media pieces, because now I've shown other people that, yeah, I'm good on camera, I can handle myself. And it was interesting, after the interview was done, we took a bunch of selfies and some photos, and it was just really fun to speak with Claudia and the other host, Maria, who wasn't in this segment, and just to see, like, they're just people, they're just doing a job, and think about how stressful it is for them, like moments before they're coming on live television, they get these questions and they have to sort of go with it and figure out how to have a conversation and make it look natural. And so at the end of the day, it's just a couple of people having a great conversation. And as long as you're clear with the direction that you want to take it, then you can have a great, powerful appearance. All right, what do you think? How did I do? Give me a rating. Ask your questions in the comments below. Continue to follow my journey and your journey to that red dot at 123celebrate.com and beingunapologetictv.com for more content, how to be a great speaker, a great leader, how to just be a great you, because the world is waiting for you. You know that, right? All right, we'll see you in the next episode.